Everybody always gets that wrong. Welcome, everybody, to our final. I think it's our final. I put that in the email, so let's go with it.
Yep, it is now.
Our final outreach and network. Is that what it is called? I always just say outreach. I'm sorry. Outreach and network meeting of 2024. It's great to have you here. And yeah, I'll start us off as we always by centering the land. Um, so I invite us to acknowledge how the land was here long before we became people. The land is what caused us to rise up. Everything that we experience and consume and interact with comes from the land and will return to the land, including our bodies, ourselves, our family members, everybody. And in that acknowledgement also comes an obligation to move towards right relationship with the land in all of the ways that are available to us. And the land, of course, includes all our relations. So plants, animals, waters, microorganisms, other people, all of that which has been created. So, as part of that obligation, as part of that sacred work, we can practice grounding ourselves and reconnecting to the land and to our bodies and that sense of connection, which is always ongoing. So, I invite you to close your eyes or find a soft, if that's comfortable for you. You might start to notice your breath moving in and out of your body, not trying to control or change the breath, just noticing how it happens, how it happens to be in this moment. And notice that particular sensation of exhaling air out and inhaling air in, that gentle movement that is exchanging air with your outer environment all the time, nourishing your body and letting go of what doesn't serve your body. And as you breathe, you might start to notice the feeling of the weight of your body on the chair, being held to the earth by gravity. And as you feel the weight of your body, start to notice the sensations in your body. In particular, any sensations of heaviness or tension or tightness. You might just choose one spot in your body where you're sensing some of that. And just imagine being able to take whatever heaviness is there, whatever tension, whatever is causing that. Imagine picking it up with your hand out of your body and placing it somewhere on the earth. Just setting down whatever that is and letting the earth receive it and perhaps reuse or recycle it or transform it into something else. And see if you can allow yourself to feel a little bit more lightness in your body, maybe a sense of go of something, having put something down. And just breathe some air into the space where that heaviness was or that tightness. And as you take a couple of big breaths, notice the spaciousness that that invites in your body. And may we hold a collective intention to remember spaciousness in ourselves and in our relationships and in our presence on the earth. And when you feel ready, you might start to wiggle your toes and your fingers and open your eyes to join us back in the circle. And Roland is here. Hi, Roland. Ta-da.
Ooh.
Awesome. So we can do some check-ins. It's really, really windy here because we've had a cool front. So my check-in question for you, take it however you wish, is what's blowing in the wind where you are or around where you are. And the circle, as I is Ben, Austin, Roland, and me. Over to you, Ben.
The image that comes to mind is like a whirling dervish with all sorts of leaves and just all sorts of stuff just kind of getting whipped up. So I'm feeling very much in a swirl, in I'm a little whirling dervish. So that's me. And over to you, Austin.
I sense tension on the wind, feelings of change. Um, yeah, uplifting sort of emotions and also kind of anxious ones. Then I'll pass to Vermont.
The answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Over to Ronnie.
Lots of leaves, lots of dust and pollen, some of which I am allergic to. Um, I feel like the trees changed color overnight, so a lot of beautiful colors and fall finally feels like fall here, at least today. Tomorrow it might not, but right now it does. So I'm appreciating that. Thank you, everyone, for checking in, and I will share my screen so we can look at our agenda for today, which is here. Can you see the Asana page? Okay. So some updates for before we start. Our last meeting, we did our annual guild report, which took the place of the seasonal review. We had a lot of really great discussion. And then at the last coordination circle, we kind of all shared what came up in our individual guild reports and did some collective reflection. That was really, really interesting and fulfilling to me. Our nominations for our 2025 Lifeboat Builder cohort are still open, still ongoing. So we encourage people to reach out to people you know, let them know about it, what's going on. We would love to talk to anybody and everybody. So yeah, please get the word out. Meetings with potential cohort members are in progress. I know we've had at least one meeting with someone who filled out the cohort application, so that's awesome. I have emailed everybody on the Stewardship Council about being involved in this coming year. We've had a couple of responses. And yeah, are there any other outreach updates anybody can think of? Ben?
No, I think we did meet with Nadia, who's the first new nomination, and that meeting went really well. Roland and I were there, and uh, she seems really excited. She's already networked, and so yeah, that was positive. That's the only update I really had.
Awesome. Anything else, Roland? Okay.
Not that I can think of. I thought I had written notes somewhere, but now I can't remember if I did write them where they are. So I'm just going to say no.
Got it.
But we probably have that written down somewhere.
Some possible topics for today are, since we have emailed this council, do we want to plan our stewardship council meeting, which we said was going to happen this month? We also could talk more about dates for the charrette. We did have a preliminary email go around with some input about that. We could do a check-in around ongoing outreach to people that have been pulled from the CRM. And then we had a topic from last time, which I guess we didn't get to, I don't remember, around developing a lifeboat builder sample. So these are.
Oh, I think you're frozen, Ronnie. Uh-oh, we've lost Ronnie. Well, I will co-pilot then, and until Ronnie can get back to us. I think I can provide a little bit of context on the recruitment for the 2025 cohort, and developing the lifeboat sample. That's so in my mind, there are two steps in the outreach. Oh no, we've really lost Ronnie. I'm sure they'll be back. And I'll share my screen. So in terms of developing the sample, welcome back. So I was just diving in and co-piloting. I was providing a little context on the outreach for recruiting the 2025 cohort and the lifeboat builder sample. Some of this is just because things get kind of duplicated in Asana because it gets brought up in different places at different times. But it strikes me that there are three components to the outreach. One is a sort of conventional outreach, posting it on the website, posting it on social media, finding different places to post the invitation. The other part is more relational among those of us who are already engaged. And, how do we do regular and appropriate levels of taps on the shoulder to get people to think about who they might want to talk to personally, to invite to join the lifeboat cohort. And then the third arm of it is reaching out to our network connections and, encouraging them to post to, to their networks, or to think through. We've already done a little bit of that. So we kind of did a first pass, but I think a lot of this is when do the reminders happen, and maybe also what's the best, most effective way of doing it. So anyhow, that's what that developing the lifeboat builder sample is really just kind of those reaching out to our network connections and reaching out to our our own network to remind people to think about who they might want to invite. So, and I guess actually the other thing too, while I've got the floor, I think planning the dates for the Stewardship Council and the charrette, it makes sense to kind of think of them together. And along with when we might want to do a 2025 orientation and the Lifeboat 101. So when does what are some of the key dates? And we did talk about Stewardship Council yet, in December. That's, ideally it would happen that way, and it still could. And yeah, that's the only kind of context I would add. I think I would change that to sort of dates in general of key things coming up. Yeah, back to you, Ronnie.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just trying to get Asana back up and running. My internet just went out very suddenly and came back on, so I a little bit
Well, do you want me to?
discombobulated.
You can navigate with mine. Like, just tell me and I can move stuff
Yeah,
around.
and I actually I took some notes and then now they're not showing up. So but my internet is fully working now, so I can if you keep sharing, I can do that and also take notes. Um, but yeah, I think consolidating things to just dates for things is um, okay, great. Is smart. And then yeah, I propose that we start with that. Um, and where am I in the circle? I'm confused. Back to you, Ben.
Or is there a question that it's back to
Um,
me?
yeah, I would like to start with the dates for things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we talked about, you suggested the charrette, an earliest date. I can't remember that it was like the 17th.
Yeah, January 17th, that weekend.
Yeah, okay.
And then April said she thought mid-February was better.
Oh, I didn't see that from April. Okay.
Yeah, let me. So yeah, I guess considerations about what a charrette date, because I think the date of the charrette is kind of going to dictate the timeline for everything else, right? Because that's how much time we have for prep. So, um, Austin, do you know what the charrette is? Okay, let's talk about that. So this will be our third annual design charrette. And basically every January/February, we spend a weekend um, together pretty much all on Zoom at this point. And we invite people from the guilds, people from our network, people from the Stewardship Council to basically talk through what is our annual plan for the coming year. And basically doing what we already do all the time, which is aim, act, reflect, what happened this previous year, what went well, what's in progress, what have we learned, and then setting our sights for the coming year for what is our focus as the Lifeboat Academy, both the network online stuff as well as on the farm. Um, yeah, anything to add, Ben or Roland?
Well, and it is basically our annual planning, and the goal is for us all to come together, look big picture, and then task it out for so that the guilds have a clear kind of agenda for the year. So it's really it's working together, but then getting it down to the level of what guilds are going to take on what, and so that everyone has sort of marching orders.
And I think this year will be interesting. And I think that's actually part of the decision-making process, are the decisions that have to be taken in what the charrette is going to be, what we're going to talk about. Because with the clarification between the Lifeboat Academy and 9891 Spalding Road Farm, how much are we going to actually talk about the farm and the farm property versus the Lifeboat Academy? So I think that for me anyway, that would be good to talk through and to clarify. Yeah, that's all.
Well, and sorry, I'm breaking circle, but I'm just noticing the April's vote for mid-February due to prep work. And I'm trying to figure out what prep work does she imagine needs to happen? Because we have a sort of a standard process, and And that process can, get amended, but basically, and it's all online, so there's no logistics to arrange. I'm not unclear what prep she thinks, and is she over imagining the amount of prep work involved?
I got the sense that maybe she is, because we've done our annual review for this
Mhm.
past year. We have the guild established already. So, I mean, for last year, each guild had one meeting
Right.
before the charrette.
Yeah.
So we need time for that.
Well, but actually the guild, the meetings that happened before the charrette were what we just got done doing.
Oh, that's true. Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I think Roland has, yeah.
Well, and this was something that I wanted to bring up, actually, because and I wanted to bring it up at the coordination circle, but then that might be too late now because holidays and all that. But it is, what's the responsibility of each guild in relation to the charrette, in terms of setting it up and organizing it and facilitating it, and in terms of the facilitation, given that April is interested in facilitating it, does this mean that there will be a uh, the facilitation group will be meeting specifically around the charrette, and then all sorts of questions like this can be clarified. So what, does the membership and how do the guilds want to organize, or what's needed um, to be able to set up the charrette for this year?
well, and I'm going to channel what we say in our documents, and which is also what we did, which is also what sociocracy says you're supposed to do. So, which is there are two halves to the process. There's an annual review that feeds into an annual plan. The review is what we are still doing right now, but pretty much wrapping up. And that is, each guild looks at what they accomplished, what ideas they had, what's working. They forward that to the Stewardship Council. The Stewardship Council digests that, and still at the Stewardship Council meeting, the primary responsibility is for the Stewardship Council to do what we're calling requests for proposals. So basically, they are saying, ideally, these are some of the high-level goals that each of the guilds should be thinking about for the next year. And that goes to the guilds, and the guilds come to the charrette with an idea of what their plan is going to be. So the guilds are arriving at the charrette with a sense of what they want to be doing during the year. And the work of the charrette is to harmonize that, to make sure that there's no conflict, there's no duplication, and that everyone's focused on the important stuff. So really, the charrette is supposed to be organized. It's like coordination circle at that high level, right? It's like the annual coordination circle.
So we're not circling anymore. Is that okay?
Sorry, I was just providing information.
I know,
So
I know,
yeah.
because I wanted to jump in and then I realized it's not, maybe not my turn. So I wanted to check with the group. Are we popcorning or are we circling?
I'm going to propose, because there's a question, I'm going to propose let's popcorn until we have a clear sense of what the question is, and then we'll go back into circle. Because right now, I think we're still kind of figuring out what the topic of conversation is here.
Okay.
So popcorn.
That kind of answers my question, and not really, but it helps to clarify, because is there a date? So the Stewardship Council meets before we have the charrette. So we first have to have a date for the Stewardship Council. before we can decide on a date for the charrette. So that means getting the stewardship council, well, or at least it would help to clarify when we can actually have the charrette. If we know when the stewardship council is meeting. So first we have to get the stewardship council together for a meeting, and everything that happens in the charrette sort of from this point on, because we've done the annual reviews and all that stuff, then spills out of the stewardship council meeting. Okay.
I've been looking at our calendar for what we did last year. And we had multiple planning sessions before the charrette. Sorry. Okay. So we had session 1 was mid-January, and it was lessons learned and guiding principles. Session 2 was a few days later, resources, relationships, and goals. Session 3 was functional area RFPs. And then there was a design meeting. So how is the charrette going to look facilitation wise? And let me see. That was also mid-January. And then the charrette didn't happen until February 16th. And I know part of that was because of other obligations that people had. So all of that said, I do think we have already done through the annual review process, we've already answered a lot of the questions that I think those pre-planning sessions were asking.
Exactly.
So the major thing is the stewardship council meeting to come up with the RFPs. The guilds will get together and say, based on our annual reports and the RFPs we've received, this is where we're headed next, like ideally.
Yeah.
And then we need to figure out the facilitation for the charrette, which I think we could really go off of what we did last year and just tweak it a bit. So I don't think there's a ton of work to do, and I think we could have it sooner than mid-February, assuming it works with people's schedules. How does that sound? Other considerations? Over to you, Ben.
The only other consideration I put out is having time for, and I was thinking if we just look at the regular guild schedule, Outreach meets on the 7th, Finance meets on the 10th, Heartwork meets on the 2nd, which would be, or then again on the 16th. We don't have regular meetings for the Curiosity or Research or the Farm Guild, but we would easily be able to have guild meetings, the first guild meeting where the guilds could kind of reflect on the RFP. And the other thing too to remember in all of this is, you know, there's a subtle shift between who's on the stewardship council and who's in the guilds, right? So this is not like it's going to a foreign body and needs to be, you know, completely reinvented and then comes back and is, you know, completely new. So yeah, I guess I pass over to Austin then.
I'm not real sure what I have to contribute. I'm just kind of deferring to y'all. Some things that have come up though for me, we talk about like membership, and this may be something that we just discussed at the charrette, and you know, kind of take it from there. But it feels like there needs to be some stake something at stake, something that I could like lose if I don't participate. That's just speaking just like from my personal experience. Oh, hi, you can come and talk? Okay. It feels to me like having a clearly defined membership. I don't know, like whether there's a possibility of it being revoked, or I don't know. I'm just kind of like spitballing here because I sense that my participation or lack thereof has been largely well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna give myself some grace here. I'm also off my meds, and again, because of insurance issues. But you know, I don't know if this has been a conversation already. If that's something that has been discussed. But it also there could be potentially some I love you too. Some kind of incentive program to encourage members to reach out and gain new members. Oh, go see. Yeah, okay. Something to tangibly like to have to motivate us to continue to reach out and grow our network might be beneficial. I don't know how relevant this is to what we're talking about, but that's just kind of the ideas that have been floating around in my head. But
that was so you might want to use a different cup. Sorry, Lucille, you have water all over this floor.
Yeah, I think that's all I have at the moment. So I'll pass to Roland.
Well, thanks for that, and I'm curious. I am curious to see what that could look like. So that sort of I'd like to get a better idea of what that looks like, and I think we still need to work out a date for the stewardship council, because we do have Bernie and potentially Lisa Fleming at least, and in terms of getting membership and people active. I mean, what I got from Lisa's email was that she's willing to do stuff, and it needs to be clear to her what we're asking her to do. So I think at the very least, the stewardship council, and I think we're just waiting on dates before responding to her email. And I'm curious about what you were saying, Austin, because I was also thinking about part of the way that we've been using the charrette is also to get membership to guilds, and things can shift in terms of membership in guilds, and I'm curious to see who might be interested in being part of the Learning and Research Guild. And also, yeah, anyway, that's all for now. Over to Ronnie.
I think the Lifeboat Builders cohort page on our website gives a really great overview of how everything is connected. Like, my motivation is the world is falling apart and I want to survive and help my people survive. That's why I show up. Also, I make commitments to people, and it feels uncomfortable when I'm not able to hold my commitments or when I don't show up. These are things that have motivated me to stay involved with this work, even when it sometimes feels so disconnected from other parts of life. But I think the Lifeboat Builder cohort page really gives an idea of what we're offering and how, for example, participating in the charrette gives you a really like it's
Uh-oh.
like every processes we use and what are guilds and how do they work and all of those things. It says, can you not hear
You
me?
cut out a little bit there. So yeah,
Okay.
and I think it was the cohort page is clear and the relationship to the charrette, and that's when it sort of cut out. So
Yeah, so the charrette gives a really great overview of all these different processes and tools that we use in one weekend. So circle process, sociocracy, what are proposals, what is an annual plan, what are the guilds and how do they work? Like this is like, and this is freely offered. Like everything that we offer is freely offered and we ask that people participate in return. So I think part of it too is, I feel motivated to learn a more reciprocal way of being with people, and making commitments that are manageable because I use an experimental approach, things like that. Um, I don't know what else we can, we offer, you can sign up for a one-on-one meeting with Ben anytime if people are confused, if they want to talk about stuff more. There's so much that we offer to support people. And what we've learned over the years, I think, is that it's up to people to decide what they want out of what we're offering and also what they're able to give, and how does what we're offering meet their needs and how can they meet our needs as well. So it's the learning to unlearn to relearn. We're offering a completely different framework for being in relationship and working together that I can't even put a price tag on it for how it has impacted my life. um I just can't. It's not, yeah, it's not doable for me, but I could talk for hours about all the ways that this work has its tentacles going into places in my life now. So maybe we could record that and put it on YouTube or something. Anyway, I really have to go soon, so I would like to at least talk about a date for the Stewardship Council meeting. Um, we're already at December 10th, and we have really like at max 10 more days, I feel like, before people check out. I'm already checked out, but I'm continuing to show up to meetings because I said I would.
Mm.
So I'm just wondering, do we want to try and do it next week, or push it to early January? Over to Ben.
Yeah. Um, I'm looking at the calendar. It's all this stuff, it seems like no matter how early I try to get the ball rolling, it doesn't. And I don't know the answer. I don't know. I'm kind of at my wit's end, to tell you the truth, about we offer and we bend over backwards and we ask, I feel so little in return, and we get lip service and nobody does jack shit. And I'm just kind of done. There's a part of me that just says, fuck the whole thing. Just, no charrette, blow it out of the water. Um, I'm just, and everyone has some little quibble, it's always like, the date doesn't work or something like that. And so, and if you pick a date and you try to keep things moving, if you everyone wants it delayed and delayed and delayed, and because it's got to be perfect and we need more time for this, and then no one does the thing that they're supposed to do, so then we delay it again. So yeah, I don't know. I'm uh I'm having a moment, so I'm gonna pass over to Austin.
I have a little girl on my lap that wants to be part of the conversation. So my impulse at the moment is to just sit with that frustration and kind of give you some like hold some space for that, because I understand where you're coming from. And I can't imagine the frustration of having put so much time and effort into this over the years.
I can be right back. And I can talk to you guys. And when I can watch make it, when I can order, when I can keep it to my ear.
Yeah.
And I can also don't forget to you can. So I can give it back to me.
Bye, honey. Sorry, she had a lot to say just then. Yeah, honestly, I'm not real sure what to say at the moment. Maybe I'll just pass to Roland and contribute next round.
Yeah, I think that that's great to acknowledge the frustration. And in terms of moving things forward, I agree that just settling on a date to invite people to the Stewardship Council now would be good. And is that something that we can do before the proposed January earliest date for the charrette? So is that something that we want to do between now and the end of the month during holiday season, or early in January? Over to Ronnie.
My thinking at this point is, because Ben and Roland and April and I are the solid core team. We are the ones who have been stewarding all of this. We stick with a date where we know we're available. So December 16th is Monday, which is the coordination circle meeting. There's also the following Monday, the 23rd. We could meet either instead of the coordination circle, that could be the stewardship council meeting, or we could meet the 23rd, knock it out, have it done by the end of the year, record it if anybody wants to watch it, and then we'll be ready to move forward for the charrette. I know the 16th is in 6 days. It's kind of short notice, but we also know, like I said, the 4 of us will be available. So thoughts, considerations, over to you, Ben.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of figuring out. I'm wondering if we kind of take that and it just expand it a little bit and send out also to the guild list and just say, you know, maybe pick 2 or 3 dates. I like the 16th. Maybe we do another date like the Friday or Saturday of that next week. And we just send it out and say, you know, we know it's short notice, but it's going to be, you know, relatively a light meeting. It's just a check-in, and, you know, can you make it? And go with that. I mean, it seems sort of like the best option at the moment. I mean, my only concern would be the I think, and this is like, this is part of my frustration. It doesn't matter what date we pick or how we go about doing it, people will complain. Like this is just the reality. It will not be the right date for someone, and it'll be too quick for someone. It doesn't matter how long we delay it. So I guess, maybe it's sort of thickening up our skin a little bit, thickening up my skin about, okay, so people are going to complain. If they want to, if it's important enough to them, then they can show up and fix it. But rather than thinking like it's our responsibility to try to come up with these magic dates that satisfy everyone. So yeah, I think I'm good with that. Maybe, like pick the 16th and 2 other options and send that out and see, where we have overlap. Yeah, over to you, Austin.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted. We have a potato pal.
They go. Diddle. It go. Bow.
That helps lighten the mood a
It
bit.
go Mickey Mouse because it go Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. That's not Mickey Mouse. That's your potato pal.
Yes, the Mickey. Because I'm Mickey Mouse.
With that, I will pass the roll on.
Yeah, I think having 3 dates and sending out an invitation to either to everybody or to the people who've indicated interest in the still being part of the stewardship council is good. And also to Ronnie's point, we're still the core. So if somebody can't make one of the dates, maybe it's just sort of like with which date can most people meet. And if somebody can't make it, then we have ways in which people can participate. We record things. People can still respond to what to the meeting. So we have alternatives if people can't make the actual day, if they want to contribute. So over to Ronnie.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I can send out that email. The dates that I looked at the lifeboat calendar, and next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, afternoon/evenings look free. Although I know, Roland, you have your call with your mom on Tuesday.
Fridays now.
On Fridays, but with advance notice, I can shift it.
Okay. So we could offer those 3 dates and avoid the weekend, unless we want to offer a weekend date.
Quite honestly, it's all the same to me. I guess it's like when trying to guess when people would be available, in addition to when it's suitable for us, and otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. World's on fire. What the hell else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Next Saturday is
Oh,
solstice.
I mean,
I'm
I would.
sorry. I think there's a little potato person and I'm
Yeah.
swearing. I will be more careful with my language.
Saturday is solstice. Yeah. My main concern is us and April being there. And April tends to have a tighter schedule. So I can reach out to her and say which of these 3 days is best for you, if that's okay. My head's starting to hurt and I have to go, so I'm feeling pressed. I'm gonna stop. Over to you, Ben.
Well, I think that's good. I think it's we've done what we could in the time we've had, and move it forward. And we've got an action item here. We've got a plan to move forward. And And I think we can handle, I think the conversation's been good. We've got a lot of things on the table. And now we can coordinate through email and other means. So I think we can move this all forward. Over to you, Austin.
Do we have all of the upcoming meetings posted on the calendar in Lifeboat?
Will they go out in the newsletter? So, and then the newsletter is posted on the website. So yes, if you go to the events page, you can see the upcoming meetings for the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Oh. Okay, that's helpful.
And I haven't updated it recently because our website was out of commission, so I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I will add the newsletter to the website ASAP.
I've been checking each individual calendar in every separate group to see like what's going on, what's happening. I didn't even think to look at the newsletter. Yeah. I got nothing. I'll just pass her along.
That all sounds good, and thanks, Ronnie, for sending out the email. And I think I think it would be useful to include in there to make clear that the Stewardship Council meeting is a once a year event. That there are no other requirements or demands on people's time other than this one-time meeting. And that might be encouraging for some people just to jump in.
Plus the charrette.
Okay, well, yes. So over to you, Ronnie. I'm done.
Thank you for that. That is good to include, and I don't think I would have done it. So sounds good. All right, I have to go. I will send that email soon. I was just going to send it to April and other people who responded, or send it to the whole list.
I think send it to the guild list and we can,
Okay.
and whoever responds, and we just won't worry about it other than, hopefully people respond. And if they don't, they don't.
And I got a token today. I just want to say I got a token today. I got a token today because I did something good.
Yay.
It wasn't a potato person token, but that's okay.
Yeah. We'll have to invent the potato person token.
Ooh, I like that one. That is so cute. Okay. All right. Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon.
Bye.